In this video, we're going to work through the first three problems or exercises in assignment 5.1 in your book. The idea here is voicing chords in either open or closed position. So as you can see in this first example, we have a key signature of 2 flats, and that tells us that we're either in B flat major or G minor. Since in this chapter we're only doing tonic or dominant, it has to the root in the bass, this low note here, has to either be the root of a tonic or dominant chord in B flat major or the root of a tonic or dominant chord in G minor. Well, the note there is a B flat, and that is the root of the tonic chord. So we're going to say that this is the key of B flat, this number 1, B flat major, and we're going to identify this chord as the tonic chord because of its root in B flat major. And then we're going to try to voice it in open and closed position. Honestly, it doesn't matter whether you do open or closed first. Let's just go ahead and take a stab at voicing this first chord. And I always like to take care of the doubling first. So remember, in all of the triads, we're going to double the root. This triad is spelled B flat, D, F, and we've got 2 B flats already, one here and then one here. So all that's remaining is we need 1 D and 1 F. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give the F to the tenor, and I'm going to give the D to the alto. Notice that the tenor is not above the alto and the alto is not below the tenor, so we don't have cross voicing. We also don't want to have more than an octave between inner voices. If you have a greater than an octave between any 2 adjacent voices, that creates a hole in the texture, and that's something you definitely want to avoid. So we don't have that, and that's good. So this turns out to be open position because we have more than an octave. So there's our open position for number 1, and now we need to put a closed position. So let's just voice the alto higher and the tenor higher. Now we do have more than an octave between the tenor and the bass, and that's the one exception that you're allowed to have. The bass is a freer voice, and it is going to be generally more disjunct as it moves from one chord to the next, and that is, by convention, typically that is allowed to happen. It's just here and here that you don't want to have more than an octave. Okay, and anyway, because we have less than an octave between the soprano and the tenor, this is closed position. So that's number 1. Let's go ahead and look at number 2. We have 4 sharps in our key signature, and that would either be E major or C sharp minor. We have an E in the bass, so that tells us that this is going to be E major. And with E in the bass, that's going to be our tonic chord. And we're going to put the notes of the E major chord, which is spelled E, G sharp, B. Right, there's the tonic chord. And we want to take care of our doubling, so we need 2 E's. Well, we have 1 E already in the bass, but we do not have an E in the soprano. So let's put the other E up in the tenor. That's not too high for the tenor. It's getting close, but it's not too high. And then so we have 2 E's. We have a B in the soprano already. So all that's left is we need a G sharp. We're going to put that in the alto. And this turns out to be closed position because there's less than an octave there between the soprano and the tenor. So over here in the next one, we're going to try to voice this in open position. And I'm going to take care of my doubling, put the alto lower, and the G sharp in the tenor. And so now, because I have more than an octave between the soprano and tenor, I have open position. And again, we're just careful that we don't have more than an octave. That's only a third, that's great. And G sharp to E, that's only a third, that's great. That's a fifth, that's great. And that's a sixth. So we don't have more than an octave between those inner voices. Okay, and let's go ahead and do number 3. The key signature is 2 flats, so this is again going to be either B flat major or G minor. But this time, since we have a G in our bass, it's going to be G minor. And it's going to be the tonic chord in G minor. So G minor, and we'll call this tonic, lowercase Roman numeral for minor chords. And when I go ahead and put my notes in, take care of the doubling. So the chord is spelled G, B flat, D. I've got a G down here, and I've got a B flat here. So I've got 1 G, 1 B flat. So I need another G. Why don't I just give the the tenor and the bass the G, and then give the alto the remaining note D. So I've got 2 roots, 1/3 and 1/5. And this is open position because that's more than an octave. Open. Okay, and notice it's okay to have the tenor and the bass on the same note. They share the same note head, and we just use our stem stem up for the tenor, right, and stem down for the bass. We use our stem to show that there are two different voices doubling that. Anyway, we need a closed position here for number 3. So let's put our alto up higher and our tenor up higher. And now I have, 2 G's. I have a B flat, that's the third of the chord, and I have a D, that's the fifth of the chord. And because there is less than an octave, this is now in closed position.